Republican House Caucus and the Republican Senate Caucus be working together this year in an effort to pass any Republican ideas?
Or most certainly, and you've got to love Senator Sloan. He's really, truly just tells it like it is. And really, I think what we need to get out as Republicans to the people of Hawaii is that this is a really fantastic opportunity for us to prove that we really don't need that much of taxpayer money to do the basic services of government. We were in a Finance Committee meeting the other day, and there were members of the House Finance Committee as well as the Senate Ways and Means Committee, and the Council of Revenues had come before us, and that basically the members said, well, what should we do with all this budget shortfalls? And a member of the Council of Revenues basically said, well, maybe it's time that government went back to what it was created for, and that is to basically do basic services for the people of Hawaii and let the economy be stimulated in other ways by taxing people less. And so I'm really excited that we have Senator Sam Sloan. He truly is a great Republican.
He is an orator.
Yes.
And do you notice he didn't see any notes, no teleprompter? He is a man who, from his heart, from his mind, he's wired as an orator. And it's inspiring. It's a way of saying the things that need to be said. And I want to just emphasize a couple of things that he said. You don't need the numbers to speak the truth. You don't need the numbers to speak out into the lives of the people of Hawaii and what they need. I think Sam, whether he's one or he's only 2 out of 26, Sam and his ability to really bring the points to the fore. He has the ability and the strength, and you can see the courage to do that without wavering. I think Sam is definitely correct. There's too much doom and gloom. We're trying to really scare the people of Hawaii rather than encourage them to hold the course. Not that we're going to say things are good just to make you feel good, but things in terms of a measurable, quantifiable comparison. The way that we're talking about a free fall of the economy is just unfair rhetoric. I don't know if you guys read my op-ed piece in the Advertiser the other day about FDR was correct. It's all about fear. We're at a 5% unemployment rate versus 25% during the Depression, but we're talking about all this free slide of our economy as if the Depression is around the corner. You know, people who don't do politics every day, it's like, my God, these are the leaders and they're talking like, these are the newspapers, they're talking like that. Sam is right. We got to get away from this doom and gloom. And I think when we get to our package, it shows that there are positive steps to keep the economy moving, keep the jobs there, and not just scare people with, you know, $1.8 billion deficit. You know, when we say we got such a budget deficit, those of us who were around in the 90s, we had huge deficits and we had huge pots of money that we kind of played around with, which we made it through when the economy was really bumping along on the ground. We've gone through hard times. People are tough here, but the way that the psychology is building up, it's like a tsunami and a tidal wave that's scaring people rather than making them look at it more objectively. That's another point that I think Sam drives home. The other thing that maybe I disagree with him a bit, because I think people really look to us as leaders. Not that government has the problem-solving ability of all the issues, but I think as we've seen some of the greed and the avarice in the economic system make capitalism spin a little bit out of control. Government shouldn't be the big brother, but government should be the referee down on the field. Let the players in the private sector get on with the game, but the government has got to be the referee. And I think partially what we did, the referees went up in the stands and said, well, let's watch the game down there and see what happens. And I think we know that the human condition is, that is what is in the heart, is greedy, and sometimes without a check and a balance, gets out of control. So when Sam mentions that government is not the solution, government has got to be part of it, not the whole thing, but it's got to be where we responsibly do the bidding of the people. People are out there making a living. They don't have the time to figure out all these issues and all the other things. The last thing I think I would reiterate is the notion of no taxes and no quick fix with the gambling. We've been there, done that. We know the costs of gambling. And jump in on what you may feel about this one, because I think everybody's saying, oh, this is the quickest way to get around. We can do all this. The California hotel, $725 million a year they take away. And if we just bring that home, and some say, well, just make it offshore, I think that's one of those flukes that we would be chasing to say that gambling was the solution to what we have in rebuilding our economy, rebuilding the confidence of the people of Hawaii. So yeah, I like Sam's speech. Unfortunately, we didn't have the whole unedited version that he gave on the floor, but when he ended with never, never, never give up, I think he was speaking for all of us sitting at this table and those that which we represent in our party.
Well, I think we represent a lot of the voices of the people of Hawaii who are just too busy working several jobs just to survive. And I think they would all agree that now is not the time to raise taxes. And it's just not the right decision to do right now. We really need to actually reduce taxes, and many studies have proven when you reduce taxes on someone, they eventually spend it and they reinvest it into the economy. The worst thing that a state could do is let government hoard all the money, and government a lot of times is the problem. And it's not efficient enough, and it just wastes people's money in many times. And so I think this is a great opportunity where we can actually look into different departments and find ways that we can work more efficiently.
Speaking of the economy, we're facing some really tough times right now, and it's forecasted to be even tougher up ahead. Do you think that legislators will be able to put their party politicking aside and start representing the needs of their communities and start working for them?
Well, I hope so. I think there is a common difference between Democrats and Republicans in terms of a lot of economic issues. Democrats, they're all about specifically balancing books through raising taxes. They just see it as an income and a spending type of thing, whereas Republicans believe that government should be very limited and small and allow people to spend their money more wisely, and that's how the economy is going to be stimulated. So those two visions are going to be clashing right now, and I'm hoping that with things being really tough out there, that everyone will kind of open their ears a little bit and listen and somehow find a compromise.
You know, every mother wants her child to be a high achiever, a good go-getter, and to be accomplished. They have done studies that the more directive a parent is for the raising of the child to do this and do that, they actually did a study where if the child got on the bus by the mother giving the money to the kid going up and putting the money in versus the mother going in and get the kid to go sit down over here and put the money in, those people who were directed became the less responsible, the less able to achieve. And unfortunately, the government is becoming so directive that the ability for the people to rise up and to be their own achievement level. And I think that's one of the ethics we're losing as Americans. But it's where it's the fundamental difference that you said as a party. We believe in the individual, that you know better how to spend your money. I mean, we've got to spend money, we've got to keep the roads going, we've got to keep the health systems, and we've got to keep defense. But the basic society is the structure of the people, and that's the of, by, and for. The whole things that Lincoln has said, which Washington and all those patriots died for. So there's freedom, not because we are in the government and we know how to tell people better what to do, but they know the better, and especially, as you mentioned, they know how to spend their money because they know what their priorities are.